No Civil War battles were fought in western Pennsylvania, but Pittsburgh was the arsenal of the Union. Pennsylvania was a center of production for Civil War artillery and materiel used by the Union Army. Allegheny Arsenal was built in Pittsburgh's Lawrenceville neighborhood in 1814. At the outset of the Civil War, the Allegheny Arsenal employed more than 1,100 workers who helped manufacture equipment, weapons, artillery shells, and musket cartridges for the Union Army. Children, some as young as 10 years old, filled the cartridges with their small and nimble hands. At Allegheny Arsenal, teenage girls such as 15-year-old Kate McBride made millions of cartridges for Union soldiers. They rolled paper tubes and filled them with gunpowder to produce 40,000 cartridges a day. A cartridge was a paper tube tied off with thread and filled with black gunpowder. A musket ball was inserted, and then folded at the end, the cartridge was ready to be put in a packet of 10. The girls could produce thousands of paper tubes during their 10 to 12-hour shifts at the arsenal. In total, more than 150 girls, 15 to 20 years old, worked at the arsenal. Payroll records indicate that many of the workers were German and Irish. Like Kate McBride, several girls lived on the arsenal grounds where their fathers also worked. On September 17, 1862, as Union and Confederate forces clashed in bloody combat at Antietam Creek in Sharpsburg, Maryland, the war hit home in Pittsburgh. A mysterious explosion at Allegheny Arsenal resulted in the war's largest civilian disaster. A little past 2 p.m., while many workers were receiving their pay in a nearby building, a spark ignited spilled gunpowder. A series of massive explosions erupted near the arsenal's primary laboratory, destroying the building and its surrounding structures. The sound was so loud that some Pittsburgh and Lawrenceville residents thought they were under enemy attack. The blast instantly killed 78 civilians, mostly young girls, and injured many more. Local volunteer firemen courageously fought to extinguish the flames, but the inferno was too intense. Little was left but ashes, burnt bricks, and the wire hoop skirt frames worn by the female workers. For some victims, no remains were ever found. The trees around the arsenal were stripped of leaves. Bits of clothing and tattered fabric hung from the branches. The next day, 39 victims were laid to rest together in a common grave in Allegheny Cemetery. Though devastating to their families, within days, workers erected temporary structures and survivors went back to work. A grief-stricken community wanted to know the cause of the blast. Was it a spark from an iron-shod horse on a cobbled street that ignited spilled gunpowder? Was it a static charge from the hoop skirts of the women war workers? Could it have been boys playing with matches or a carelessly discarded cigar? A military investigation and the coroner as well tried to get to the bottom of things. But a cause for the explosion at Allegheny Arsenal was never determined with certainty. The explosion at Allegheny Arsenal sent shockwaves through western Pennsylvania, but it was overshadowed by an even greater tragedy at the Battle of Antietam that very same day, September 17, 1862. 5,000 Americans died that day. It was the deadliest day in American history.